Gonna try, gonna try, gonna try. Work till I die, till I die, till I die. I'm gonna fail and get up, 'cause I'm not giving up on my dream.
Hi my lovely Frosty fam, it's me, Karen Frost, here at Nail Decadence with another video for you. It's an acrylic design with some colour blocking with some diamond glitters which were a pain in the backside to apply, but anywho it looked really cool. These two colours are it's a milky white and a black that I mixed myself. If you're interested on how I mix my own custom acrylic coloured powders, then do check out the cards in the top of the screen and you'll see a link to the video, one of my videos, because I've got two, on how I make my custom acrylic powders. Anyway, as you saw, I showed you everything else that I would be using. I'm also using my wonderful Handolly. If you are after a realistic silicone practice hand, I highly recommend Handolly because it's awesome, and you've seen, if you look at my channel, many videos using Handolly. She comes in various different skin tones and I love her. She's awesome. So yeah, if you're after one, check out www.handolly.co.uk and use my code KFGIFT and you can get a discount. It is an affiliate code, just so you know, full disclosure. Right, so what am I doing? So starting off with the colour block, I want to get that out of the way, and because this is going to be the most involved and time consuming nail, so I wanted to start it first of all, and rather than wait for it to set up and then file it sharp, I thought, you know what, I'll go in with the craft knife, and that kind of saves me some time. I mean, you can switch in between nails, like I could do the one line and let it set up whilst I got on with another nail and then went back and filed and, you know, go back and forth between the nails like that. But yeah, no, I wanted to avoid that, so I decided to use my craft knife to cut my colour blocks. And I mean, they weren't perfect by any means, but it still looked fine. If you want it really sharp, then, you know, file it in. But yeah, I'm just using my brush to make sure I'm not going over the top of it. I'm keeping it fairly thin. I'm not trying to build up any bulk. These are not strength colours, so I will be capping them, but I'm trying to be careful not to get it over the top of the previous colour, because obviously if I'm capping it, it would mean I'd then have to file that away before I could encase it all in clear acrylic to give it the strength it needs and, you know, add the apex, etc. So yeah, fairly thin but thick enough that I can get a decent cut going with the craft knife. Obviously it has to set up a little bit before I can cut it, but I use a fast setting monomer, so I don't have to wait very long at all. In fact, by the time I faffed about and got the acrylic in the general shape that I'm after, by that point it's ready to cut. As you can see, it's pliable enough by then for me to just make my cut and get on with it. We're going to move on to the adding of the glitter pieces. Unfortunately, I don't have all of the footage. I think it was 4 or 5 videos on a SD card that somehow ended up corrupted. I lost most of 3 of the videos. I was able to recover some of one of them, and that's a video that I've already put up, and that had some missing footage. And on this one, I was able to recover everything apart from that bit where I spent forever adding all of those glitter pieces. What I ended up doing when I applied them, I started off with putting down some clear acrylic to stick them into. But then obviously the acrylic was drying quite fast because I use a fast setting monomer. So I decided to just use some base coat, gel polish base coat. Put that on the nail first, then apply the little pieces so they had something to stick into, and I could still move them in, you know, shift them as much as I needed to. And then once I'd got them all applied, I was able to then cure it in the lamp and set them in place. And then, as you can see, now I'm capping that top row that's alongside the white. I did actually cut some of those little diamond pieces in half to get them to fit into that area, because I didn't want it to just end on, you know, with just gaps. So yeah, bit of a pain in the butt to cut those little triangles, you know, using tweezers and trying to cut them. They're so tiny, but yeah, managed it. And now I'm capping it, and as you can see, I've gone a bit wild with the capping. That nail is super thick and bulky, and I'm going to have to file for my life to get that nail back into shape. I don't know why I piled on the acrylic like I did. It really did not need as much clear acrylic as I applied, but hey ho, there you go, it is what it is. I got carried away, just really wanting to make sure it was all in case, so I didn't file any of it away. But anyway, I've said that word a lot, haven't I? Anyway, oh well, it is what it is. So moving on to the little finger, as you can see, I'm just doing a full nail of that milky white. Again, I'm not building my strength and structure at this point. I am just applying colour for its colour, nothing else. I'm using it as a design powder. Milky whites, core powders, things like that, and clear, of course, they are your strength powders. Coloured powders are normally just for design and need encapsulating, because they just don't have the strength needed for a durable set of nails. I personally cap everything because I just prefer the look of the nails with that clear over the top. It gives it this really in-depth glass encapsulated encased look. I like that look. But you can build your nails in the core strength powders without capping if you so wish. I prefer, like I said, the glass covered look, but also if I'm encapsulating in clear, I'm saving my colours for them to last a bit longer, and it's a bit more cost efficient, because obviously coloured powders cost more than clear, and obviously with the strength as well. So I'm giving the nails the strength they need, but I'm also saving a few pennies and letting my colours last that little bit longer by encapsulating. So that's the reason behind it. I didn't mention, but I had already, before I started filming, I had obviously prepared the nails, applied the tips, but I'd also applied my thin clear base on the nails before I started filming. So I always put a thin clear base. There are many reasons for it. I've mentioned it a million times in videos, but I've got new subscribers all the time. Thin clear base gives you something to file back to should you need to do a redesign on a set. It also gives the nails a little bit of strength. It also protects the nail from any staining from very pigmented colours. And for me, because I don't soak off, I file back to that thin clear base, and then the only filing that happens to my natural nail is when I'm preparing the regrowth area for application. I leave the thin clear base on my nails. I don't soak it off. I only remove it if it has lifted or it has discoloured in any way, and that's another reason for the thin clear base, because if you are just using a cover pink straight over the nail and you are doing a file back and you're leaving some of that cover pink on the nail, you might not necessarily see if there are any problems underneath the acrylic that need to be addressed. So there could be a greenie or something hiding underneath it that you don't see because it's an opaque colour, it's a cover pink. So really and truly, a thin clear base has many good reasons as to why you should adopt that as your standard practice. So just, bear that in mind. Obviously the choice is yours. There are many people who don't do a thin clear base, but I highly recommend it for those reasons that I mentioned. And whilst I've been waffling on, I have applied that milky white to the index finger, and I'm capping it as well. I've capping it? That's not a good sentence, Karen. I have also capped that nail. These are very, very long nails, so I'm switching between the small brush and the big brush. So I'm doing put your teeth in. I'm going to do a marble on this now, so I switched to the smaller brush. Just makes sense to me. It doesn't hold as much monomer, and you know, I'm not wasting the monomer putting too much on, and I can get a good marble with a smaller brush. Obviously it can be done with a bigger brush, but I just prefer to do it with a smaller brush, as and when I remember to, of course, because you know what I'm like, Dory. Yeah, I have that problem. I have memory loss issues, but it is what it is. So yeah, I'm just doing a very easy marble. It's just the clear, oh gosh, sorry about that, hit the tripod. It's a very simple marble, so it's the clear, the milky white, and just the very tiny amount of black, because obviously the black being such a strong colour, it can easily overpower everything else. So apply more clear and more white than you do the black, that way you get a nicer marble going. So I've done the marble on a diagonal slant 3/4 of the way up the nail, and now I'm ombreing my cover pink over the top of that, again in that diagonal slant, just aesthetically pleasing because the ring finger has that colour block going that direction. So I figured if I do the marble going that direction too, it just gives the set a good flow. I hope I'm making sense. And I'm also applying some of this silver leaf to tie in the silver diamonds on the colour block nail as well. It all kind of just helps it all meld and flow. It just gives the set cohesiveness when you tie in the different aspects on the entire set, if that makes sense. So even though the little finger and the index finger are plain, they will have some black crystals, black and silver crystals on them, which will also help. No, the black goes on the white nails, and I've got some black and silver on the other nails, so that it all kind of flows and ties in, you know, the whole theme, black, white and silver, monochrome with a touch of silver, why not? So now that I have finished applying all of my silver leaf, I will cap that nail. Again, this is when I'm thinking about my strength and structure. Not only do I want to cap that marble so that I don't file into it or file away any of my little silver pieces, I'm also thinking about my apex. And do take a look at your nails from all different directions. My application, I will say it, my application is quite pants in this video. It's not on point. I've made a right pig's ear, especially of that ring finger. It's humongous. Yeah, don't do that. There's no need to add so much acrylic. I've applied so much, and I've applied a bit too much on the other nails too. I don't know what was going on with me that day, to be honest. So now I'm going to have to file for my life and get this monstrosity into shape. So I'm going to use my, what's it called? E-file. Oh wow, yeah, E-file. Anyway, if you're one of my frosty filing freaks, hey, how you doing? I know you're there. Yeah, enjoy the filing. If you're not, I did put a timestamp in the corner of the video so that you can skip ahead should you not want to watch. But frosty filing freaks, this is how we roll. So as you saw, I did the underarch first, and then I went up the side walls, and now I'm going around that cuticle area and then down the barrel of the entire nail, bringing it back into shape but also contouring as I go. So I'm debulking, contouring, shaping all in one. You don't just file and go for hell for leather and not pay attention to what you're doing. What you do on one side, you do on the other side. And if you look, I'm quite methodical in how I do it, and I go from one side to the other side, and then I check the other side and I look at that and see if that needs evening out. And that's how I do it. I go from one side to the other side, around that sort of cuticle apex area, down the barrel of the nail, and just contour. See, because what you want is, if you're looking down the barrel of the nail, you want a lovely arch going up and down, just like that arrow arch that I'm showing you. So if you're looking right down the barrel of the nail, so you want it to be even on each side and that gorgeous arch to be there. That's how you get a really nice nail. So look at your nail from all different angles, from the side, down the barrel. Don't just do a bird's eye view. You will not see any dips, lumps, unevenness if you're only looking at it from a bird's eye view. Don't be afraid to move your client's fingers around, you know. You can't get a good set of nails if you don't move somebody's fingers around and give yourself, you know, access to give them a beautiful set of nails that are cohesive, that are all similar, they're uniform. You can't just file one nail and file the other nails different. So whatever you do on one nail, do it on all of the nails, because you want them to be even and look like a uniform set, not have one that's fatter and one that's thinner and one that's wonky. And no, whatever you do on one nail, you do on the others. So I have various different routines. However, I only do one routine at a time. So if I'm doing the routine of doing the cuticle area first, well then I will do that on all of the nails in that set and carry on with all of my manoeuvres that way. If I'm starting with the free edge and sidewalls and underarch first, again I will do that on all of the fingers. I won't just do it on one and then do something else on another. With the debulking of the ring finger and the middle finger, they were a little bit different from the index and the little finger, but that's because they were they needed much more filing, of course, because I needed to debulk. I put way too much acrylic on. But basically, apart from that, you want to do the same on all the nails, and keep stopping and looking at all of the nails together, because if you're only just paying attention to one nail at a time, you won't see that you've made one different to the others, if that makes sense. So do stop and look at all of them as a set before you finish. Every time I finish filing, I always stop and look at all of the nails together. That way I can make any adjustments before I put my e-file down or my hand file down. You know, you don't want to remove all the dust and wash the hands and, you know, wipe it down with alcohol and then realise that, you know, it still needs some filing in certain places. That's the last thing you want to do, and then have to get your dust extractor out and your hand file and your e-file all back out again. No, do it all at that time so that you're not having to go back. So yeah, I'm just looking at these nails from all different angles and making sure it's nice and even. And I don't like a thick free edge. I do like my free edge to be fairly thin, no thicker than a credit card. It's preferably thinner if I can manage it. And yeah, as I said, you want to contour that nail. It's all about the shaping. Everyone who starts out in nails, unless you're like a genius, I don't know, but I don't know, most people, I'd say 99% of people, struggle with filing when they first start out and getting the nails even and uniform. Don't stress out about it, but do pay attention to the things that I've pointed out to you. You know, looking at all of the nails together. I'm doing a lot of filing in this set, and I've left it all in because this is the reality. If you apply too much acrylic, you are going to spend forever filing, which is what I had to do on this set. And I was so peed off with myself. It's like, Karen, you've just made yourself so much more work. Well, why did you do that? But some days you have an off day, and this was an off day, and I just piled on that acrylic like no man's business. and this is the result. I had to file for my life, and it took forever, and it was annoying, and I was frustrated with myself. So yeah, try not to apply too much, but I mean, these are things that you will learn, because if you don't make these mistakes, you won't learn from them. And like I said, no one is perfect, and we all have off days. I had an off day when my acrylic application was pants. This is one of those days, and I'm going to show you guys, because even though I have got years of experience and of helping others to perfect their craft, I still make mistakes, and there is nothing wrong with that. Don't worry about it. Fix your mistake and move on, because nothing is perfect in life, and these are all life lessons. So I'd say to all the newbies out there, keep going. I know it's difficult some days where you just think, oh my gosh, is my application ever going to get any better? It will, I promise you. Take loads and loads of photos. You will shock yourself in 3 to 6 months how different your nails are going to be looking. Promise you. Take loads of photos, and when you look back, you will surprise yourself, because I still surprise myself. I still pull out some really crappy sets, but then I pull out some really wonderful ones, and I'm really proud of myself. And then again, some of the sets that I think are crap, people have really loved. So, you know, I suppose it's all personal perspective, and nail techs are very hard on their own work, but they don't notice any flaws or minor flaws on someone else's work that someone else thinks is, you know, rubbish. So yeah, it's all personal perspective, but what I'm saying is keep going, you'll be fine. So as you saw, it was time to bling it, baby. So we're blinging, why not? So this is where I add the crystals, and because we are very near to the end of the video, because we'll be, after I've applied these crystals, it will be time to top it off and keep it tough. But what I'm going to do is use my SBD London, my ever faithful SBD London diamond gel, which you guys know I use all the time because it's awesome. You see my nails when I'm wearing crystals. Obviously I'm not wearing crystals on this set that I've got on my nails in this video, but you know from previous videos I wear crystals a lot, and this stuff is awesome. Flash cure it in place when you need to, and then after you've top coated, it will get the full cure of 60 seconds because you'll be curing your top coat at the same time. So it's quite alright to flash cure them in place. I'm also using the diamond picker upper tool thingy, which is a gorgeous rose gold and white. It's really pretty, but it's got that wax tool, and it's got this pokey bit. I don't know what that's called. It's not quite a dotting tool. I suppose maybe it is called a dotting tool, but yeah, it doesn't have the ball on the end, so I don't know. Anyway, you can use that to poke your crystals in place. See, that's why I think it should be called a pokey bit, because you poke them. Anyway, it's time to top it off and keep it tough, and I've gone way off track as usual, but I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you ever so much for coming to my channel and watching this video, spending some of your most precious time with me. I appreciate you. Thank you ever so much. If you have not already done so, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'm very close to 2,000 subs, which is rather awesome. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I'm just overjoyed, and my Frosty fam, they're just awesome. I've got my regulars and I love them to pieces, so thank you ever so much. And if you've enjoyed this video in any way, shape or form, please go ahead and click that like button. I'd appreciate it. It really does help my channel out and helps me to get seen by others, so please do take that 1 second that it takes to click that like button. Thank you very much. And if you're feeling up to it, you are most welcome to leave me a comment. I'm more than happy to talk to you. That's all I've got for this time, peeps. You take care now, and I'll speak to you all again very soon. Bye for now.
Cambiamos mentiras por juramentos. Sabía todo de ella, pero ahora ya no lo sé. Siempre has estado tan bella, pero has cambiado, mujer. When the tidal waves come around and wipe up what we built, would you fight for love, or would you back down and let a hole drown?
yeah.